record this for students who aren't here today. The point of a critique is to get feedback on how to make your work better, right? I know, as someone who has a lot of experience with art, I still really value critiques. I'm lucky that my husband is an artist. I'm lucky that my best friends are artists. And so I go to these people to give me critical feedback on how to improve my artwork. You know, mine might not necessarily be a technical thing anymore, but like a lot of times I get feedback on the concept behind my art from my friends. Okay, so I made some norms. I like to normally make norms with you guys, but I wanted to kind of make this a little bit faster. So when you're critiquing people's work, and this would be if you were using words and you were talking to someone, or if you were typing, which is what we're going to do today for our first experience, you want to make sure that you're always kind and supportive first, right? So we don't ever want to say, that's horrible, and I can't believe you did that, and why'd you mess it up? Like, you don't want to be negative, right? You want to also be very specific. So when you're giving feedback, you want to make your claim and you want to support it with evidence. All those words that we use in social studies and English pertain to art as well, and I'll give you examples of that in just a second. And then make sure your comments are helpful. So try to use the vocabulary that I've given you. Try to explain how to improve things rather than just what needs to be improved. So give them solutions. Solutions are very, very helpful, okay? And so the directions are in slide 3. Now, I am not going to put you in breakout groups because I know some people aren't ready, but also I want to be available. When I put people in breakout groups, I have to go into specific rooms to answer questions. So I'm just going to leave it completely open, and I can see the 13 people right now who are in this Google Slides presentation. Like, I see who's there. So I know if you're doing this or not, and we'll make a notation in my grade book for it that you've done it, okay, or that you're in the process of doing it. So when it comes to what you're going to do, you're going to have a slide. So you're going to find a group, right? So I'm not going to even place you guys in groups. Now, when you're figuring out what you're going to do, we can actually move, but we're going to do 3 people in a group, and you're going to fill in your name here, right? Then you're going to put in your artwork here. You could also insert, right, the references that you have on your process portfolio. I'll just do one of them as kind of an example. I can also put those different angles in to help my classmates suggest what I could do to make it better. Okay, so that's what I'd like you to do right now, is just to go to your process portfolio, insert your photo that you made yesterday of what it looks like now, and then insert your references. I will talk about the next part in just a few moments. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do this, okay? If we need less, we'll move on. If you haven't done your process portfolio, now is a good time to do that too, because you are still going to do this. Okay, so now that you guys updated your portfolio slide, right? You have your blank slide. What you're going to do is you're going to work within your group. So you're actually going to give feedback to 2 of your classmates. So the 2 people who are in your group. Now, when we are critiquing, normally there's some sort of guidance. Now, since this is an introductory class, it's probably really important to emphasize what stage we're in right now to help us move on to the next stage, okay? So the first column you'll notice, it says with a plus, what is working well with the artwork? So far, what have we done? We focused on detail, proportion, point of view, visual movement, use of space, composition. I'd even say we've talked about composition, you know, that how we organize the space, right? So what you'd want to do is you give specific claims and then evidence to support that. So here, I said my husband was my critiquer. I said, he said, you created visual movement through the placement and point of view. You filled the space up well with your objects, right? So I drew them big enough. So then in the other column on the right, we have the delta sign. And I like to think of it in terms of the delta rather than a negative. Delta basically is a way of communicating change. So these are things that you would want to fix before you start to outline, because when we start to outline with pen and marker, it's permanent, okay? So use the vocabulary again, focusing on the things we've already done. Detail, proportion, point of view, visual movement, use of space, background, right? So my comment was, you need to add more specific detail. It looks sketchy and could be more specific. So one, remember that this is not completely done, but let's say I did say, oh, this is finished. That's good feedback, okay? Then it also says add more detail to the background, make sure to use an image reference, right? So rather than drawing from my head, I want to make sure that I use a reference, okay? So please put your name at the very bottom when you've critiqued something, okay? So go ahead and do that right now. Work in your groups and critique. If you're still working on building your slide, focus on that first. Hey Siri, set the timer for 5 minutes.
Okay, your timer is set for 5 minutes.
You'll find it won't take long. So remember the norms, okay? Give specific evidence, be positive. So if you start to finish, what you want to do is you want to go to your slide. So you've commented on 2 of your classmates, right? You've talked about things that are going well and things that they could improve upon using the vocabulary given. What I want you to do is to go to your slide and read the feedback. The whole point of critique is to learn how to, one, speak about art, but also how to improve what we're doing. So I want you to read it for what it is. Some of it might not really be relevant, but some of it really might, right? So feel free to then go back to your drawing and fix things. Do not outline anything. I'm going to teach you how to outline on Tuesday, but also I'm going to let you guys start on Monday if you're ahead to outline. I created a video last hour for you guys. Okay? So go ahead, finish up your critique, and then when you're done, you can go back to your drawing and make it better.